Have you ever noticed that when a problem appears, your mind doesn't react the way most people's minds do? While others jump to the obvious solution, you pause, look at it from another angle, and sometimes come up with an answer nobody else even considered. Maybe people have called you strange, complicated, or too different in how you think. Maybe you've even doubted yourself because your approach doesn't match the crowd. But what if solving problems differently isn't a flaw? What if it's actually a sign of a rare cognitive style that most people never develop? If that sounds like you, stay with me, because today you're going to understand your mind in a completely new way. Welcome to the Hidden Mind, where we explore the psychology behind how people really think and behave. And before we go further, take a moment to like this video and subscribe, because insights like these can completely change how you see yourself. Most people are trained to solve problems using familiar patterns. From school to workplace culture, we are taught standard methods, expected answers, and socially approved approaches. This creates efficiency, but it also creates sameness. The majority learns to follow mental templates. But some minds don't work that way. Some brains naturally resist mental shortcuts. Instead of asking, "What is the usual answer?" they ask, "What is the real answer?" That difference changes everything. People who solve problems differently tend to be pattern breakers in their thinking. Their brain doesn't stop at the first reasonable solution. It keeps scanning. It questions assumptions. It tests alternatives. This can make decision-making slower at times, but it also makes it deeper. While others solve the surface of the problem, you often solve the structure underneath it. One major reason for this is high cognitive flexibility. This means your brain can shift perspectives quickly. You can look at the same situation from multiple angles: logical, emotional, strategic, and creative. Most people lock into one frame and stay there. Flexible thinkers rotate the frame. That's why your answers sometimes surprise people. You're not guessing, you're seeing more variables. Another reason is independent mental processing. Some people rely heavily on social proof when solving problems. They feel safer agreeing with the group. But independent thinkers feel safer trusting their own reasoning. Even when you listen to others, your final judgment is internally formed. This independence can feel isolating, especially when your conclusion differs from the majority, but it is also a mark of intellectual maturity. People who solve problems differently are also often tolerant of mental discomfort. Unique solutions require sitting longer with uncertainty. Most people rush toward quick answers because uncertainty feels stressful, but your mind is more willing to stay in that "I don't know yet" phase. That extra mental patience allows deeper connections and better long-term solutions to emerge. There is also usually a strong element of creative association. Your brain connects ideas across categories. You may pull solutions from unrelated experiences, different fields, or abstract analogies. Where others see separate boxes, you see bridges. This cross-connection ability is strongly linked to innovative thinking and high-level problem solving. Interestingly, many people who think differently were misunderstood growing up. Teachers may have said you didn't follow instructions the right way. Others may have said you complicate simple things. Over time, you may have learned to hide your natural thinking style to fit expectations. But different does not mean wrong. Different often means original. Another hidden factor is deep processing speed versus fast response speed. Some minds answer quickly. Other minds answer thoroughly. Fast thinkers are praised in many environments, but deep thinkers often produce more accurate and sustainable solutions. Your pause is not confusion, it's computation. Different problem solvers also tend to ask better questions. Instead of asking, "How do I fix this?" you ask, "Why is this happening?" and "What caused this?" That shift moves you from symptom solving to root solving. And once you fix the root, the same problem stops repeating. At the Hidden Mind, we often see that people with unconventional thinking styles struggle with self-doubt, not because they are less capable, but because they are less common. When you don't see many people thinking like you, it's easy to assume you're wrong. But rarity and wrongness are not the same thing. There is also a neurological side to this. Some brains are wired for divergent thinking instead of convergent thinking. Convergent thinking narrows toward one accepted answer. Divergent thinking expands into many possible answers. Society tests for convergent thinking, but innovation depends on divergent thinkers. Of course, thinking differently comes with challenges. You may feel frustrated when others don't understand your logic. You may struggle explaining your conclusions because your mental steps are not linear. You may even second-guess yourself in group settings. But once you understand your thinking style, frustration turns into confidence. The key is not to force your mind to become average. The key is to build structure around your uniqueness. Write your reasoning, map your thoughts, slow your decisions when needed, speed them up when safe. Master your style instead of hiding it. If you solve problems differently, you are not broken. You are not difficult. You are not overcomplicating everything. You are processing reality through a wider mental lens. And that lens is needed more than ever in a world full of copy-paste thinking. Take a moment now and reflect. How many times did you doubt your solution just because it didn't match the group? How many times were you right later, but quiet in the moment? If this message connected with you, share your experience in the comments. I read them, and your story may help someone else finally trust their own mind. And if you know someone who always thinks differently and gets misunderstood for it, share this video with them. Sometimes understanding your mind is the beginning of using it fully. Before you go, make sure to like this video and subscribe to my channel, The Hidden Mind, so you don't miss the next story that might change the way you see yourself.